Monsters creep from their lairs. Kraken entwining ships. Sasquatch slaying campers. Giant ants wrecking tanks. And one news bureau has you covered. Turn up the radio, gentle listeners. It's time for breaking news, fresh from the teletype. Welcome to
Monster Yo!
Good day, gentle listeners. We have breaking news, live on site near Las Cruces, New Mexico. Dateline, Saturday, April 23rd, in the year 2022. 20 head of cattle stung to death by mutant killer bees. Ranching country near Las Cruces is in shock to find dairy cows and beef cattle dead from an apparent attack by killer bees. But not any kind of killer bee. These appear to be some type of mutants. I'm here at the Wilkerson Ranch about 20 miles west of downtown Las Cruces. The killer bee attack targeted adult cattle and calves. I can see at least 20 of them laying on the ground. Their eyes are swollen shut, and bloated tongues protrude from their mouths. I'm approaching a cow's body now. Oh, dear. Its calf is next to her. He's dead, too. I can see 3 sting wounds on the mother. These aren't typical stings. It looks like someone shot the cow. I'm going to examine the wound area. The bees that did this had to be 20 times bigger than a honeybee or an Africanized bee. I think I can see the stinger. It's red. Let me see if I can extract. I've got what looks like a fishing hook. Oh my God, the stingers are barbed hooks. And they wiggle. It was still burrowing into the cow. Okay, let me put this in the collection bag. I'll provide this to one of the Bureau's entomologists for more research and some DNA testing. It looks like some honeybees are coming in. Wait, they're fleeing. The killer bees. They're coming in. And they're flying in formation? I want to say it's like a video game, something like Space Invaders. Okay. They've now landed on some of the dead cattle. They're big bees, more like hornets and the size of my hand. Oh, and they're burrowing through the wounds. What? What? A helicopter? It's black. It looks like a federal agency's model. The door's opening. He's got a missile launcher. Get out! Uh-oh. You've got Jake here. I think it was a concussion rocket of some kind. The bees, they're gone. And the cows are nearly burned down to their skeletons. Incinerated, really. And I've got a killer headache. But I have some of the bee remains. I'm taking them with me. I've got an intrepid researcher hoping for one of these. So stay tuned for a field report with a source from inside the nearby military lab. It's 10 hours after my run-in with whom I assume were government agents. I'm sitting in a greasy spoon, one of those diners that hasn't changed a bit since the 1950s, somewhere near Alamogordo. It's got black and white checkered tile floors, red pleather seats, and a jukebox on the tabletop. Strong coffee, though. I'm about to get the scoop on the bees from a scientist at one of the military research labs. I'll mask the scientist's voice and refer to them as Agent X.
Good evening. I hope I haven't kept you long.
No, that's quite all right. It's a long drive from Las Cruces.
Mm-hmm. So you found some of our pets?
Yes, that's what I'd like to ask you about.
Okay. I may not be able to provide much information, and I may have been followed.
I understand, Agent X. What do you know about these killer bees?
Oh, I see you found the Southwest Hive.
Southwest Hive. There's more?
I'm afraid I can't tell you more about how many hives are in the wild.
The wild? I see. So these bees, they're as big as my hand, have red fish hook stingers which burrow into flesh and liquidate the muscle, and its venom can kill a freaking cow, for Christ's sakes. What else do these nasty buggers do?
You know more than I thought.
I was at the Wilkerson Ranch.
He'll be compensated for the loss of his cattle.
Great, but it's obvious these things are more than just bees.
Yes, it does appear the splicing worked better than I thought.
Splicing?
Genetic splicing. They're what we call chimeras.
Chimeras?
Yes. A creature constructed by manipulating, adding or removing gene sequences to make something unique.
Unique. These things killed cows. Just think what they do to people.
And that's precisely why they were made. They're weapons.
How involved were you in making them?
I authored the gene sequencing and created the initial batch. But the ones you encountered are several generations older. The bees I made didn't have this size, nor type of stinger, and I didn't expect them to have a caliber to kill cattle, just incapacitate a human.
A caliber?
How fatal the venom is. You can use toxicity too. I borrowed from a box jellyfish and cone snails to make their venom. But what you described is something altogether different.
How's that?
What you've described is the liquefaction of muscle and bone tissue. That's more akin to spiders. They essentially turn their prey into a milkshake. Someone must have run a new sequence, or there was another batch. These bees weren't supposed to become giants. The example you showed me shouldn't be able to fly. I wonder if Project 51 got involved.
What's Project 51?
You know Area 51 in Nevada? And the spaceship crash in Roswell?
Yes.
The metal for the ship can reduce gravity's pull. So objects that shouldn't be able to fly can. If you have any part of that bee, I'd like to examine it for the alien metal. It would only take a pin-sized application.
Sure. I have some parts I recovered from the ranch.
Don't open it here. I'll take it with me.
One sec. I have to take this call.
Jake, we need you to get back to the Bureau ASAP. There was a Wendigo attack outside of Winnipeg, Manitoba. This is a breaking story. There could be something horrible coming for the Canadians.
Okay, I understand. This is a major story. I'll catch the first flight back to the Bureau.
What is it?
A Wendigo attack outside Winnipeg. I've got to go. I'll be in touch to follow up on the bees.
Of course.
I'm back in the Bureau headquarters in Olympia to find a story that happened while I reported from Las Cruces. This story comes from our affiliate at the Las Cruces Sun News, as reported by Allie Linen. Tens of thousands of bees built their hives in the rafters of a Doña Ana outbuilding, nearly 100,000 of them. It's not unusual to see bees on their property, said the homeowner, Nancy Stone, but sweeping up nearly 300 dead bees a week was. Stone says, "I thought these are honeybees, so I didn't want to kill them." And Stone was correct. She did have honeybees, and they were dying as they searched for a source of heat through the structure's skylight. But the bees in the Stone residence were Africanized honeybees, more commonly known as killer bees. Pyong Livingston, a bee removal specialist, says, a hybrid of European and African honeybees, these Africanized bees tend to be easily irritable, more aggressive, and attack in swarms. Livingston says, these Africanized bees are becoming more common in the area and account for 70% of the bees in the southwest region as they thrive in the warm weather. Mrs. Stone did the right thing. She saved at least 70,000 bees. It's difficult to tell an Africanized bee from a regular honeybee until they swarm, said Ryan Hiles, program specialist at the New Mexico State University Entomology and Nursery Department. Hiles added that Africanized bees are so aggressive that they tend to take over a beehive and mate with the regular honeybees. Livingston says, we extracted the bees and relocated them, but there aren't too many beekeepers in the area, only one in El Paso. So we took the bees outside the city limits, in the desert, and built an area where they could survive. We go the extra mile to make sure they survive. Honeybees are dying off an exceptional rate. Between April 2015 and April 2016, beekeepers in the United States lost 44% of their colonies, according to the Bee-Informed Partnership. Entomologist Carol Sutherland says Africanized bees made their way to New Mexico in the early 1990s. The bees were accidentally released from a lab in Brazil in 1957 and have since made their way north, hitting every country in South and Central America and Mexico. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, they were first discovered in the United States in the southern tip of Texas in the mid-1980s and have since been found as far north as Utah and Nevada. Sutherland said the Africanized bees should always be a concern because they're quick to attack and so many attack at once. However, she added that, to her knowledge, no human has been killed by a swarm of bees in recent years. Thanks to Ali Leinen and the Las Cruces Sun News for that report on killer bees. And thanks to you for listening to this episode of Monster Bureau. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, rate, review, share, and tell your friends about it. If you like ghost stories, check out my other podcast, Ghostly Activities, for real ghostly encounters. Until next time, take care and be on the lookout for monsters.